start with the chanting. Let's start. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Ana Shrinvanutibhi Siddh Sadhanam. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, we are starting again the Nyaya Sutras. Last week we were on the third chapter, part 2. So that is the 6th section in series, 3 into 2 sections each. So in all there are 5 chapters, 2 sections each. So 10 sections in all. So we were on the 63rd sutra and we will start with the 64 today. So we've seen here Yathok. Before this we were discussing the nature of consciousness and that consciousness is infinite, eternal, and then we also discussed all the different properties of consciousness, that it is not a part, product, or property of the body. It is an independent principle that pervades and enlivens the body, and so on. So basically, when we reach the infinite nature of the consciousness, then we realize that something that is without parts, it cannot have any action. Activity usme nahi ho sakti. There is no action. So next the question comes is, the activity, how does it go about? Activity, how does it occur? So the main agent of activity is mana, the mind, manaha. So the manaha, mind, here it is said, it is of very atomic nature. It is very minute in magnitude, very sukshma, very subtle. So because of the reasons we said above for the consciousness, there is any kind of cognition occurs when there is consciousness and when there is mind. The consciousness is everywhere, so cognitions can happen anytime, anywhere. But at one time there can be only one cognition because it is routed through the mind, because mind is reflecting the consciousness. So that means the mind is very small, localized in space, localized to a particular body. Every body has that mind. Okay, so next we move on to the 64th sutra. So we'll just read it, but we'll need to do a long introduction on this part before we can move ahead. Okay, so what does this say here? Purvakrit phala anubandhat tat utpattihi. Purvakrit phala anubandhat. The Purvakrit, the actions that we have done earlier. Earlier means maybe in this birth, before the current time, or maybe, and also in our previous births. So Purvakrit phala, the actions that we have done, or you can say the fruits of those actions are anubandhat utpattihi. Tat utpatti. This, it is born. What is born? The body. The body is produced or born as a fruit of our previous deeds. So here they've used the word deserts. Anyone has an idea why they are using this word deserts, George? I am a bit clueless about this word. I would say it basically means, I think, actions or activities or our proclivity to do action, right? So anyway, wherever this word has been used in the translation, we are going ahead with the Sanskrit word, which is the phala, karma phala. So whatever be the fruits of our actions. So present body is made up of elements endowed with the fruits of merit and demerit of our previous life. So whatever our previous life, we have this those karmas, they together come together to produce this body. So if we understand this in a little bit more detail, we have done a lot of this in Sattva Bodha. So what basically is karma? What is action, right? So when we look at the nature of consciousness, what have we seen is that it is infinite. There can be no action within it. उसमें कोई कर्म हो नहीं सकता. It is not possible for us to do any kind of action. George, have you written something? Which word? Okay. Last one. In this text, there is this word desserts. Okay. So basically, it is equivalent of samskara that we have in our mind, the desire to do something. So you can also simply call it desire. So due to the nature of consciousness being infinite, there can never be an activity within it. But but how can there be activity when our true nature is not realized? When there is obscuration, that obscuration is done by the inherent power, we say, of consciousness within the consciousness or within the eternal reality, Satchit Anand. There is it associated it with is the Shakti, the power, or we call Maya. Okay, so when this Shakti is there, then this Shakti helps us to helps the consciousness to manifest the whole world. So Maya, or if we look at it from this is from the viewpoint of Advait Vedanta, and if we look at it from the point of the Vedic system, what does the Vedic system say? Basically, that whenever this consciousness is producing every element in the world, that means they are inherent within every infinite. Any infinite cannot be truly infinite if all finites are not included within it, and thus those finites can be manifested by that. But that manifestation can be done in only a certain way. There are rules governing it. Those rules are created by that consciousness itself. Otherwise, everything will be chaotic. It will be a mess. Everything will be a total mess. So, when this consciousness manifests this whole world, then all the different beings are born out of it. So those beings being born are born in which way? They are not aware of their infinite nature. So when they are not aware of their infinite nature, but that infinite nature is a part or property of their own being, so they try to revert to that, right? So if water is put in a higher place and a channel is provided for it to flow down, it will flow and to attain its level, whatever the natural level. Similarly, this infinity is a nature of our being. If we explore each and every being or each and every atom also at its original basis, it is infinite. So when we look at this consciousness that is divided, the Jivatma being actually infinite, it tries to attain the things around it to complete itself, to have the feeling of infinitude. So that is why it does action. That is why it does karma. Karma is done by that in that divided being. So Jivatma here, as if you remember in this Nyaya, we say that is a mixture of the consciousness which is reflected with the mind, the man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, or you can say the sukshma shariram of Vedanta or Advait Vedanta. So this sukshma sharir, there we said all the samskaras are stored there, all the different inclinations we have towards doing any action are stored there. They are as a result of our previous experiences. Whatever we have experienced earlier, that will drive us to aspire for or to, create or reach for a certain object or person. So all our actions are directed towards that. So if we remember from there, we said, what are the different kinds of karma? Uh, can anyone recall? जॉर्ज मनीषा, कर्म कितने प्रकार के होते हैं? इफ आई टेल यू वन, प्रारब्ध, कैन यू टेल द अदर टू? एनीवन रिमेम्बर्स? मनीषा, बाकी के दोनों तरह के कर्म? एक तो प्रारब्ध कर्म होते हैं.
Can I?
Yeah.
So Prarabdha, Sanchita, and the other one. I can't remember the third one. But yeah, Sanchita, Prarabdha, and.
मनीषा, कुछ याद आया? Remember anything?
नहीं.
Okay, so it's agami karma, prarabdha karma, and sanchit karma, right? 3 kinds of karma. There are other divisions also. We'll come to that quickly. So basically, prarabdha karma is a part of our karma that matures or fructifies in this birth, right? So, the one that has to be born by this body. So that is the reason we say that this body is a creation of karma, because we have done infinite number of karmas in our previous birth. They are stored as a total within our mind, in the inner mind, in the deepest layers of our consciousness, which is the Karan Sharira. So in that Karan Sharira, which is the Karan, means it's the cause of the body, cause of the physical body, and also the cause of the subtle body. So the Karan Sharira stores all the impressions. Those impressions lead us to do different actions. Those actions are then done by the body. So the Sanchit karma is the whole total number of karmas, right? And then out of these karmas, each karma can be done by a body. A body has a finite shelf life, a life period, right? A life period of maybe 1 year, 10 year, 100 years, anything in between. So when these karmas are to be done by a particular body, then the ones that will be mature during the lifetime of this body, those are called prarabdha karma. Those that a body will have to experience within this birth, right? So basically, a karma is not just some material object that we achieve. In some cases, it is also a material object, but mostly it is a situation. It is a paristhiti that comes, that comes in our lifetime. कोई भी परिस्थिति हो, वो हमारे सामने आएगी. How we conquer it, कैसे हम उससे जीत पाते, that is how we win over it, is the only way by which we can get out of the cycle of that particular karma. If we can overcome, then that problem will not come to our front again and again. Right? So that is the prarabdha karma. And then agami karma is basically what we are doing right now, and they will generate the different situations in the coming times. What I'm doing right now or in my current state is the agami karma. Right? So when this nature of ours to do these karmas, it binds us to this body, and it also creates a body for us. So that we say is the reason, purvakrit phal anubandha tadutpattihi, all the actions that we have done earlier, the ones that are ready to be matured in this birth, they will come in this birth and we have to experience them. And all of these experiences will bring different situations and we have to deal with those situations. As long as we conquer a situation, then till then that situation will come again and again in different forms. So those are the 3 kinds of karma. Then a lot of questions are raised by people. Why this happened to me? Why this thing happened to me? I didn't do anything wrong. So all this is related to our karma only, whatever we have done. And it applies not just at the individual level or the Vyashti level. It also applies to the total level, at the universal level or the samashti level. Samashti is the total. So, what applies at the samashti level? That we divide the karmas that the individual does that are related to the environment around him. So that again is of 5 kinds. The karmas related to the uh, universe around us. So we are given, we say 5 kinds of duties. The duties are to different beings and people around us. We call that Panch Mahayagya. So we have the duty towards Bhut Yagya, Atithi Yagya, then Bhut Yagya, Atithi Yagya, Brahma Yagya, Dev Yagya, Pitri Yagya. So all these are the duties we are supposed to do to the people around us or to the nature, Prakriti around us. So the nature around us is something that demands that we maintain it. And when we don't do that duty, we suffer the consequences. So there are 5 different kinds of karmas that are given to us. Maybe you should note all this down, so don't forget it when I ask you again. So first is prarabdha karma, sanchit karma, and agami karma. These are the 3 basic kinds of karma at the individual levels. And then at the collective level, there is the 5 different kinds of karma: nitya karma, naimittik karma, prayashchit karma, and nitya, naimittik, prayashchit, then nishiddha karma, and so nitya, naimittik karma, they are all different karmas that are prescribed for us with regard to the samashti, the total nature. So nitya karma that we have to do daily. So they are the ones we have to do daily, the daily puja, part, and all the aarti we have to do, Ved Parayanam, and all these are included in the nitya karma. Then naimittik is ones that we do, the one that we do only in a certain situation. So there are some karmas that we do at the time of doing a certain sanskara. There are 16 sanskaras. So all of these are different occasions for which we do a certain anushtanam, a certain kind of action, certain kind of activity where a puja is done. So it can be a monthly one, it can be an annual one, like Darsha Purnamasi Yagya. So that is done every month at Purnamashi, and so on. So you have the 6 monthly ones, the annual ones. So Nitya Naimittik are those on those occasions. Then Prayashchit is a karma that we do to set right something wrong we did earlier. So different kinds of prashchit karma have been told to us by the Shastras, right? And all of these karmas we do correct any kind of previous uh, error that we have done. Then uh, uh, nitya naimittik, prashchit karma, then there is the fourth one. I think one I forgot to mention. Kamya karma I didn't mention. So Kamya karma also you can write down. Kamya karma is the ones we do to fulfill a particular desire that occurs at any one time. Huh. So Kamya karma is there. Prashchit and Nishid is one that is forbidden. There are a lot of things that are forbidden, that we should not harm nature, we should not throw waste around, we should not pollute the rivers, and so on. All of these are included in the karmas that we should not do. They can be towards the people, the beings, our teachers, and so on. And each of them carries a penalty when we don't do them. So, what is this happening at the collective level? We see a lot of times there is a flood and a lot of people have died. So a lot of people who it was not their fault, but they still happen to suffer the brunt of it. So somewhere we all have a fault. wherever we do any actions, we as an individual, we bear the fruits of that action, of course. But whenever there are a lot of actions we do towards the universe around us, towards the nature around us, if we do do actions properly, we get good fruits. But if we don't do them, we get the bad effects also. So there also, in a flood, a lot of people die, but someone might be saved. So that person, probably it was not his time, his prarabdha was not up yet. So that is why he survived. So that in that way, all of these systems that we have, they explain perfectly well why things happen in the world, how they happen, right? Why people worry, why I did nothing wrong, this happened. A lot of times it's something we have done, but sometimes it is also something we didn't do, something that we didn't fulfill as our duty. So whenever we don't fulfill any of our 5 duties, then also we suffer the bad effects of those karmas, right? And so what do these karmas do is they drive us towards a certain body. So that is the basis for which which is say that a person is born in a certain varna or jati. His jati is decided by his karma. So whatever karma we did in a previous birth, they will drive us to be born in such a family where we can fulfill those desires, right? So that is why we say that we should follow the Kul and Jati Dharma and the Varna of the family in which we are born. Say if someone is born into a Brahmin family, he should follow that. But that is not strictly exclusive. Why it is not strictly exclusive? Because we progress in life, right? We progress in life. Someone, for him to attain, what is that progress in general terms? The progress is from the lower gunas to the higher gunas. Remember, George, we were talking about the gunas there, so the different sadhanas.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so the Pashu sadhana we were talking about, right? So that is associated with the Tamo guna. So all of these gunas, they drive us towards a certain kind of lifestyle or towards a certain point in our spiritual growth where we are aspiring to reach. So wherever we were in our previous birth, that at that stage only we are born into a certain family. So we are born into a Brahman, Vaishya, Shudra family as such, where our mental status is given a chance to expand its whole desires, to do its whole desires, to do whatever it wants to, or to live in a certain way, right? But as we grow, we slowly move from tamas to sattva. So as we first in tamas, we just do the actions that are sufficient for us to gain food for us. But then as we progress, we do more karma, we earn more, we try to live in the form of a family, then we live in the form of a society, we start helping other people. We find helping people gives us more joy then when I was enjoying that object only myself. And in this way, slowly our growth goes on to the higher levels of sattva, where doing any action is not for any kind of pleasure, but for the welfare of society as a whole, or welfare of the individual also as a whole. So in our life, we rise from tamas to sattva. That is the natural order of the universe. So wherever we are born in a birth, we should try to make the best use of that birth. That is the main justification of varna ashram dharma. Wherever we are born, whatever birth we have to justify, we have to follow the rules of that family where we are born. But if we can progress beyond, the door is always open for us. Whenever that desire comes us, who will provide us? Who will provide us the means to fulfill that desire? Can you guess, मनीषा? कहाँ से आएगा वो सोर्स? कहाँ से आएगा? मेरी इच्छा हुई, I want to learn Vedas. I am born in a Shudra family only right now. Who will give?
Who will give the
The opportunity to fulfill
opportunity?
Veda. Yeah,
कोई ब्राह्मण नहीं दे पाएगा ना.
Brahman to dega, but it has to come from what? Can it come from an individual?
No.
It has to come from the total. right?
Total, हाँ.
It has to come from samashti, from the prakriti. Or who is the holder of the prakriti? Who is the holder of samashti? समष्टि को कौन चलाता है? Who runs the whole of nature? Ishvara,
शक्तिमान.
Purush. Shaktiman, Purush, Ishvara. We have different names, right? So that Purush or the Ishvara is the controller of that whole. So when that Purusha sees in any being the desire for a certain higher pursuit, that pursuit, if it is pure, if it is filled with the right motive, if it is then yourself, some sadhu will come to your house and he will answer your question. I have experienced this so many times. Asking something, Manisha?
Yes.
Yeah.
अरे हाँ.
Maybe you should put your videos on. I like it when I see your faces to talk to you guys.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay. So, as a woman, how does it work when a woman has an इच्छा कि मुझे यज्ञ करना है, अपने घर के लिए करना है?
Yeah, so you see, look, the woman is the highest manifestation of the divine. Yeah, because the Prakriti itself is getting birth. So how does one get into the human birth as a woman? When I have a desire to give. So that is love. So there are two forces, prem and karma, which run the universe. Prem and karma. These are the two forces that run the universe, right? When we do more actions, we move the higher up the ladder to sattva. In sattva, the desire to do good for everyone around me is born out of love. It is born out of love. And love is the epitome, or you can say the representation of a woman, right? So it is the nature of a woman to do for others, to feed the family. She will not eat herself, she will go hungry, but she will cook for everyone and feed them. And maybe eat the smallest morsel herself. That is the nature of most Indian women, if you know, right? So, but times change, people become selfish. Every woman is not the same. So there, what do we say? Even she's born in a woman's body, but she has more of the karma aspect within her, masculine aspect. So masculine force and feminine force can occur in a woman's body also and a man's body. It is not exclusive. There may be ratios, quantities in both, right? So if there is the desire of a woman to do a yagna, it is born out of two factors basically, right? So first factor is that what does doing a yagna entail for a man? आदमी किस लिए करता है? Man does it because he likes to do action. He wants to do this action to feed his family or maybe feed himself. So for that, he invokes the gods, right? He invokes the god, right? So he invokes the gods, and then the invocation to the gods is done. They come, they bless him, and when he actually does the physical work, it bears fruit very fast. बहुत जल्दी होता है. Bears fruit very fast. So when it is that desire is born in a woman, she has the option of doing it with her husband. No problem. She can do with her husband. That is the general rule provided by the Vedas. They can do the havan. But if she wants to do the ahuti herself, there is no strict rule that you can't do that, right? There is no strict rule. And you can do yourself also. Because today's world, things are different from earlier times. The woman can be provider for the house. She can be the sole provider, in fact, in many cases. So then she's equivalent to having the masculine force within her. She's equivalent to a man. She's equivalent to doing actions on her own. And then she's in fact qualified to do the havan alone also. She can do alone also. She might not be married also, no? So you can do a havan for that. Yeah, so for an unmarried woman, the usual rule is to be with her father. A father will do, she will help. But if someone is so engrossed in work or so much involved towards the production side. Karma is production, love, and prema is loving distribution. The presentation, the cooking of the food. Karma is gathering of the food. So if the woman is involved in that karma stage also, you can do that havan also. There is no anyone, I challenge anyone to prove it. They can never find a page in the scriptures that specifically prohibits. The prohibition is always that depends on where the woman is placed. If she is placed in a position where she is under the protection of her husband or of her father or maybe other family members, then she has to do with them. But if she is independent enough, she can do that. And it's not a big deal actually to think of it in this, doing something collectively is always more beneficial. When you do it together, there is no harm who is doing the ahuti or who's offering it. In fact, he's taking on a responsibility. That responsibility can be taken by one person or many. But when someone is doing the ahuti, others are also doing, na? Others are also putting in their ahuti. I am doing the ajya ahuti. I am offering the ghee as the yajmana. Right? The priest will sit beside me. He will chant the mantras. My wife will offer the havan samagri into that. Right? So my samskara is I will do the action to do this, and the wife will do the action of preparing the food. The ajya ahuti is what? The offering this ghee so that the fire glows. First you have to burn the fire, na? Then the cooking can be done. But the offering of this havan samagri is equivalent to cooking. It is equivalent to preparing the food. So that is her part of the job. So any job we do together. We never can complete anything alone. If we are doing it alone, then we are taking the job of both the masculine and feminine parts. A lot of men also do both things. They also do cooking. They look after themselves so that they have that feminine instinct also within them. Right? So all of these karmas basically, they produce within us certain stages of development, and that is where we are born. That is where our varna is decided. So that is why varna is always according to birth, because God has decided for us. Ishwar ne hamare liye chuna. He has chosen for us the place where we will born to. So we are bound, or we are duty bound to follow that, so that the social order is not disturbed. तुमने कहा कि मुझे आर्ट सीखना है, ठीक है? You wanted to study arts, and so your father put you in a school for arts. And then you are studying there, and then suddenly find you are a misfit. You maybe were influenced by peers and you didn't like it. And then so you say, I want to do science. So what will a good father do? He will say, of course, he will scold you. He will punish you. He will, in fact, ask you if possible, whatever duty you have taken, you should not give up. जो responsibility लिया पूरी करनी चाहिए. But if you are such a misfit, then he will say, no, you should not be doing what you are not born to do. Right? So he will put you in a science college. Whatever loss he has to bear. That is the way God is also, Ishvara is also with us. He also has put us in this body for a certain action, for a certain pravritti, a certain kind of tendency to do certain kind of deeds. उन्होंने हमें वैश्य के घर में जन्म दिया, आप बिजनेस करो. You are born in a Vaishya family, do business and do other things associated with being a Vaishya. Vaishya is not just one who does business. He is one who supports society in every way by creating wealth. That is the purpose of this Vaishya. So when Lord also sees that a student is not, or a jiva is not fitted into the body he is born, that is, he has evolved further. He has gone into something different. Or sometimes devolved also. Ulta bhi hota hai. One does not always move upwards. Some people, they are not able to take the pressure of doing a certain kind of job, and they start doing a smaller job. So that also happens. So someone is born in a Brahman family, but by nature he is a Shudra only. He initially had that spark, but somehow when he studied so much, then he felt, this is beyond my capabilities. He can go down also. So I'm digressing, but basically what I'm saying is, whatever our desires, they help us, they get us born into a particular body. And during that body, it is our duty to do the duties of this body. Today's world is not idealistic. There is a lot of Varna Sankara. There is a lot of mixing of the Varnas. There is all kinds of confusion. So that is why we insisted earlier on the purity of the race. It is nothing negative. Purity means maintaining a certain lineage so that the child that is born there is not a confused child, right? So that is why all the members of that family, they followed the similar activities, right? So that applies to the nature of the activity, which is Varna. Satvik hai, Tamsik hai, Rajsik hai. And it also applies to the specification. There is within each Varna, there are different duties, right? So in a Brahmana, it can be a teacher, but he can be a teacher of different subjects. He can be a teacher of the karma family, karma series of parts of books or studies. It can be the ones that explore the nature of action in the world, that produces machines, engineering, right? And he can be in the form of in a field of research, which is the Brahmana aspect, right? So same way, all these others they are all the other jivas that are born into, let us say, someone is born into a Vaishya. So there are different ways of doing business, different kinds of business. So a lot of variation also is there, right? So all of our desires, they direct us to be born into a certain family where we can fulfill those desires. We can continue doing those duties consciously so that the order of nature is not disturbed. The Lord will want us to be that way so that we don't disturb so because every Varna has their duty. There is a system. So the Brahmins will maintain the temples, the Kshatriyas will defend the nation. But if suddenly, say, there are 100 people in the army, 50 suddenly decide that, no, I want to do business. I feel there's more money there. That is my interest. What will happen to the army? Army will get disrupted, na? There will be less people to defend. So that is why we should be very particular in what we want to achieve in life. And then the samashti, the whole nature will come to aid us. Whatever our desires, the nature will aid us. Or Ishvara will aid us. He is the controller of nature. He will guide the resources of nature toward us that we need to mobilize to fulfill our desires. Right? So in this way, all this system of karma is designed so that if I am moving to the highest beyond this world, then I am in the state of pure consciousness. There is no action, no karma. But if I am in the state of desire, then I will have a body, I will be born, and this birth will lead me to different kinds of experiences in life. So here again we'll come back to the text now. So Purvakrit Phal Anubandhat Tat Utpatti. So body is produced of Purvakrit Phalas. Whatever actions we have done, the fruits of that is the body. The body is the fruit of whatever our previous karmas are there. Right? So there is certain objections to that. 3 to 65. So Bhutebhyah Mrityu Upadanavat Tat Upadanam. So someone says that you are saying that this body is born out of the result of our fruits of our previous actions, right? So a very important principle that is behind that is what? The principle is that for every cause there has to be an effect, or for every effect there has to be a cause. And so that is symbolized in the Vedantic system of that says that Karya Karan Vyavahara. Every cause will produce a certain effect. A seed of a banyan tree can produce a banyan tree only, and it cannot produce a mango tree, right? So every cause has a particular effect, and that is related. So every cause will produce effect for that particular thing only. If I have done a special karma, an action, the karma's fruit will come to me only. right? So for that we have another two more rules. Krit Abhyagam, you can write it down. Akrit Abhyagam. So Akrit Abhyagam and Krita Pranash. We have done this earlier also in Tattva Bodha and other multiple places. Krita Pranash. Earlier in Nyaya also we have done. So what are those two important rules? That in nature everything happens according to certain laws. So what are the three laws of Newton? Which is the first law? An object
In motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force.
external force, right? And an object in motion or at rest will continue to remain in that state
In that state
till
until
acted upon and
acted
by an external force, right? So then there are two more. So this is the first law, right? So for we can understand from this clearly, for any change in an object, there has to be an external force, right? So an external force has to be there. So that external force is what we call the one that is inducing the effect. That is the cause. That is the cause. So for every cause, it can bring about a certain effect only, and that effect can only can happen in the object that is being acted upon. I cannot say I'm pushing this wheel and the other wheel is moving. It can't happen. The wheel that I am pushing, that one will only move, right? So we have the fourth law of motion also. We say we have the first law of motion, which is there in the Vaisheshik Sutras. So there, what is the first law of motion? These three are there, Newton's laws of motion. But the first is the force that is inducing that motion has to be a conscious one force. It has to be a conscious being who has to produce it. A non-conscious thing can never produce that thing, right? It has to come from a conscious force only, conscious being only. I can produce that. Similarly, if something is happening in nature, there are conscious beings in nature who are doing that. They are the Devtas, they are Ishvara, they are all at different levels. They are inducing all the activities that are happening in nature. It is totally illogical to suppose it is happening on its own. That is totally illogical, whatever science might say. If you go by logical method, there has to be some conscious entity that is controlling these. Otherwise, happening randomly, whatever kind of science you create, it will bound to have a lot of contradictions at some stage or the other. Right? So the basic law of karma is every cause will produce a certain effect. Both of them are related, cause and effect. Any cause cannot produce any effect. And that is also the law of karma. And also, the effect will go only to the fruit of any action will go only to the doer only, the one who is the doer. And so there the two laws, Krita Pranash and Akrita Abhyagam. That means the effect the fruit has to go to the doer only. So otherwise there will be two defects. Krita Pranash, I did something, but I didn't get the fruit of that. And Akrit Abhyagam, I didn't do something. Akrit, I didn't do anything. Abhyagam, but still I'm getting the fruit for that. So that cannot be possible in nature. If it is there, maybe we are not seeing the cause. The cause is maybe in the previous births or a previous time. It is not possible. That is why we also say that the mind stores all the impressions. It goes from this body to the next. So that is why it is the common factor. Otherwise, this body bearing the fruit of another body is illogical or wrong. So what is the common factor? The mind is the same one, the Sukshma Sharir. The Sukshma Sharir is common in this body and the previous body and all bodies before and after. And it is the reason why the impressions of every karma are carried from one body to the next and then they are acted upon there. Right? So if you look at the 65th one again, Bhutebhyu Murti Upadanvat Tad Upadanam. So he says, why cannot the body come together of its own? Just like a statue of stone or any kind of statue of mud, etc., is formed by the elements only. Right? So the logic is very clearly refuted. We can say, no, nothing can come together on its own. The conscious being has to be there. मूर्ति बन गई है तो मूर्तिकार भी होगा. If there is a statue, then there has to be a maker of the statue also. It can never come together. The elements can exist. But there has to be some action done by a conscious being that will produce that. So here the objection he is raising is bhutebhyo murti upadanavat tad upadanam. Just in the way statue gets formed on its own by the different elements coming together, why can't you this body also form on its own accidentally or on its own? So to this we reply, no, sadhya samatvat. He says what you are trying to prove is you are assuming yourself. It is not, you are not proving anything. You are just assuming that it will happen. Can you give me a single example where this murti of yours has come together on its own? You have to prove, first that the body is if body is formed by the elements on its own, you are giving an example of a statue, and the statue cannot come together on its own. So the upadan karan, the material cause might exist, but there will always have to be a nimitta karanam, an intelligent cause, an efficient cause, we say. So efficient cause or nimitta karan is necessary for any kind of formation to occur. कुछ भी बनने के लिए निमित्त कारण चाहिए. If there is a pot, then there has to be clay which is the upadan karan. It is the material cause. But there also has to be a potter. The potter has to be there, which is the nimitta karanam, the intelligent cause or the efficient cause. So for that efficient cause to exist, then only this kind of thing can happen. So the same thing happens with the body also. There is a upadan karan and there is a nimitta karan. The nimitta karan is the Jivatma, the one who has desires, and for the fulfillment of those desires, this body is born. So this body can only be born due to previous karma. वो पहले किए हुए कर्मों से ही इस शरीर का जन्म होगा. This body can be born only out of previously done actions. Then we give further examples. This one is about how a body is formed. So besides the besides the material cause, what are the other reasons for coming together? Na, again we are saying no. Whatever you said earlier, that logic we don't accept. Utpatti nimitvat mata pitroho. So you say, firstly, what do we need? We need another conscious entity, father and mother, for the production of the body. For the body to be formed, for the body that we are born with to have come about, we need our parents to come together. And because only on their coming together can this body be produced. It is not similar at all to the formation of a clay statue. The clay statue that forms on its own, अपने आप बन गई. वैसी वाली तो दिखती नहीं है. We don't see. Even in nature, there is, we say, some devta who's guiding the forces. Even if some statue is formed on its own within a mountain, there is always some divine force behind that. And even if we don't assume that, utna bhi nahi mane, so even if that murti is produced, there has to be a conscious connector to that murti. If I do not see the murti, then the purpose of that murti is not there at all. So there has to be a conscious connector to that murti. So in any case, consciousness has to come into the picture. Ana hi padhega. So similarly for this body, utpatti nimittatvat mata pitroho, the father and the mother are the cause of this body. And what are the other causes of the body? Tatha aharasya. Eating food is also a cause. So whatever food the mother takes, that turns into the different parts of the body, turns into the blood, the embryo. So if you're reading this text here, I'll just tell you an interesting fact here. The food and drink taken by the mother, this is from the Bhashyam, right? From the commentary written by another author. So he says the food and drink taken by the mother turns into blood, which develops the embryo made up of the sperm of the father. Through the various stages of formation, the arbuda, a long round mass Mansapeshi, a piece of flesh. Kalala, a round lump. Kandara, sinews. Shiraha, head. Pani, hands. Pado, legs, etc. come about. Eating is therefore a cause of production of our body, but not of clay statue. So in this, there are quotes from two sections. One is the Yagyavalkya Smriti. There is a Yagyavalkya Smriti which is quoted here. And then another one is the Sushruta Samhita, the text on medicine. So both of these are quoted, and see how much knowledge the ancients had. They knew the whole nature of how the body is developed, how the fetus is developed, how initially the sperm and ovum unite, and then the different parts. Initially, it's a round mass. So just it's a round mass which is undifferentiated, and then slowly it differentiates into the different parts of the body, the flesh, the nerves, and then finally the full differentiation of the body into the hands, legs, etc., etc. It happens within the womb. So all of this is described in our ancient texts. So some are not so ancient. So Shruka is maybe 3,000, 4,000 years ago, but Yagyavalkya is even older Smriti. So all of these mention the different ways in which the fetus develops within the mother's body. And so for that, the food is the cause. The kind of food the mother eats, on that also depends in what kind of health, with what kinds of organs, what strength of the body the child is born. And so in this way, the body that is produced has these factors also for it to be born. And then what else? Prapto cha aniyamat. So, and there is desire because of uncertainty, even in the case of union. So, sometimes whenever there is a union also, whenever a woman and a man are married, even when a child is not born in the first attempt, it may be many attempts before it is born. Sometimes it's not born at all. So, it's not necessary that something that body is coming about just by the coming together of husband and wife. There are so many other factors. Prapto cha aniyamat. There are so many aniyamat, so many uncertainties, even in the case of a union, that the body comes about. So, what does this point to? What does this point to? This points to some certain invisible force beyond, which we call this karma only, the action only. So, karma phala induces the husband and wife to produce a child, and that child is produced according to that prarabdha of the child that is to be born. So that rule cannot be broken. If it is broken, it will become totally illogical. We will see, innumerable people having the same body also. And we will also see some the reverse also. So many different kinds of beings with no interrelationship between them. But we see all the beings are interrelated. They have a certain level of evolution from the lowest to the highest. So all that points to a certain series or chain. That chain is managed or controlled by the actions. So is it clear so far? I think I gave you the basis. So I'll move quickly through these sutras. I think time also is up. शरीर उत्पत्ति निमित्तवत संयोग उत्पत्ति निमित्तम कर्म. So sharir utpatti nimittatvat. So the cause of the production of a body. Sharir utpatti nimittavat. Sanyog utpatti nimittam karma. So whenever there is a body that is born, then for that there has to be certain conditions. Sanyog, certain conditions that are to be fulfilled. And those conditions are fulfilled only due to action. We do a certain action, then only we can produce a particular situation in which a certain action can take place in the best way possible. So we have to create the proper conditions for happening, for something to happen. So what are those conditions? Like if we have to do a certain operation, a doctor decides to do a certain operation, then what is the conditions? He will need a proper place where he can do the operation. Then he will also need to do a particular operating area, a table. Then he will also have to have at his disposal different kinds of instruments with which we can do the operation. He will have to have different kinds of medicines at his disposal, and so on. Right? So all those sanyog utpatti, that sanyog we have to get together. So before something can be done. For any kind of action, there is not just the resources, there is also there is also the intensity of our resources. There are so many other factors. So that is why we say it is only through karma a body is produced, because that body can only be produced when all the conditions necessary for that production are satisfied. All the conditions are necessary conditions are satisfied, and that can only be the desire that is born out of previous actions. कर्म से जो भी हमारे अंदर इच्छा उत्पन्न होती है, whatever desire is born within us, that desire can only be the cause of the production of the body, and also the conjunction of its conjunction with the soul. Right? Just a body is not born. A body is a conscious body. We cannot just bring together a certain set of chemicals that are contained within the body and suddenly that body will be alive. It has never happened. All of our medical research, whatever it can do, it can modify a currently living body, but it cannot bring together uh, two, uh, two or hundreds or thousands or billions of compounds. You can say organic compounds, and combine them in a ratio, and then suddenly that it can produce a living cell. The living cell is never born. It can never be produced by a certain set of activities. It can only come from a living being only. Living being can only come from a living being. So in this way, sharir utpatti nimittatvat sanyog utpatti nimittam karma. Certain conditions have to be brought together, and those conditions are the actions of our previous body, and due to those actions, this current body is born. So the body has to have behind its production action, karma. Karma can only be the reason for it. So I think the time is up for today. So we'll wind up for today. Anything, any doubts for today? Any questions you'd like to ask, Manisha, George?
No.
No? I hope it was all clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, then we'll wind up for today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, thank you, bachcho. Thank you both of you for coming and joining the class. Hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week ahead also. Manisha, George, bye.
Thank you.